Hey guys, welcome in another episode here in PX Sport Bolt in the house. We have so much history right now here. So I'm here with Oscar Mesa. Oscar,
What's up? What's up? Yeah, man, like Max says, this is
history.
years of skateboarding here. And we're in Chihuahua. You can see the skate park behind us, doing an event here with PX Sports and the city of Chihuahua. We're here with Danny Way, Sean Sheffy, Jeremy Ray.
Just fucking eminence.
This is insane. We're in Mexico.
Insane.
Like, for these three fucking beasts to be here to motivate these kids and to do an event with Mexico is insane, and it's like something that we're definitely pushing to do more. And it's been taking years to like really get people to think differently about Mexico. So thank you guys for being here.
Yeah,
It
thank you guys
really
for being
means
here.
fucking the world to me, and
pleasure.
for these kids for sure.
For belief in Mexico, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And this is 4 decades of
4
skateboarding.
decades
Literally.
of history.
history. 4 decades. I mean, there's history before the 4 decades, but the 40 years ago
Yeah.
is when it started to get turned on, like where it was like, okay, the needle
Yeah,
started to move.
I hear you guys talking about the skate histories. Please, talking more about talking more about that.
First off, I wish you have. Where's the poster of the? Anyways, they printed out a photo of a frontside 360 you did on the triple set in Santa Monica, which you've done so many tricks that I was like,
Yep.
wait, what trick was that? Which front 360 just on anything is insane.
Regular
no one
ones.
does them better. But Dan, you mentioned that you did back heel too. So
When we got down to Santa Monica, we checked out that spot, and I was doing my first interview for Transworld, doing the Pro Spotlight, and I was with Atiba. He was shooting the photos, and I got a backside 180 that day, and I got it like first or second try, so I was like, okay, what else can I do?
Yeah.
So I went for the frontside 360 that day, and I landed it, shot out, and my shirt went up, and it's all sandy by the beach.
Uh-huh.
So the sand went all up my back. So
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'll come back and get that
and
another day.
and it was
Years later, I did go back and get it.
Yeah, and this was when the downhill, the run up is still wood,
Oh, yeah.
right? Because now they did part of it concrete, so you had it, and you had to I'm sure have your trucks navigate through the middle. Yeah, it was,
Staples and all that stuff.
and at that time, not that many people had done tricks on it,
I don't think anyone had ever skated it before. Maybe an ollie.
Yeah,
For the
yeah.
interview, I
And,
got the backside of
dude,
and
to,
that day I tried the frontside music.
and to go from like ollie or 180 and back 180 and then like 360 and then back heel is like insane.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that spot was fun because it was a weekday spot because it gets really crowded during the weekends. There's all the,
So that's another thing that,
I'd go there during the week where no one's there and you just go skate it.
yeah, the beautiful.
Would always gather.
Yeah, because I haven't been like skating in LA for these past few years that I'm here, and it's like I had even forgot about that saying, like a weekday spot or a weekend spot, because like here in Mexico, and it's good for kids to know, is like there's no culture of going and skating schools.
Yeah.
It's very forbidden here. Like they
Yeah.
really mess with you. So like no one goes into
Yeah,
school.
nobody
It's
go
like,
to the school and
but for
skate.
us, it's like that's where the spots were, So we're not here. They don't know about like weekday spots or weekend spots. It's all only weekday spots.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. Like it gets people not to only wait for the weekend to go, to go skate street.
You look forward to the weekend because all the businesses were closed, schools were closed.
Yeah.
You can skate anything on the weekend. And during the weekdays, it's hard to find spots because
Yeah.
people on the streets and all that stuff. You got to find the spots
Yeah.
like Santa Monica.
And then
No one's there on the week.
yeah. And then think if it's weekend or weekday. Sometimes you think it's weekday, but it doesn't. Then yeah.
Figuring out.
And Sheffy, we have the king.
It's like crazy. Like,
Yeah,
don't know
so
where
much.
to even go.
We have the
to,
king of
like-
the switch
Come
right
on.
here. No,
The
Like
king of the biggest.
Yeah.
The-
Like,
I mean, the
first chapter was
the kink rail that he did, the board slide.
the boards like the
Tell us
questionable.
about that trick. How was that session? How did it come about?
Balboa Park.
I think it was one of the first. Board slide.
Frankie Hill out of
Was it like the,
you know,
like the board slide pinky, right?
a couple.
Balboa Park. Yeah.
But that one is the same one that you skated to.
I didn't skate that one. I don't think I did.
Someone 50'd it, I think, but
Back Duffy.
Steve also, yeah.
Yeah, I never.
But he board.
Night. They were skating.
Yeah, so tell us about it like that.
At night, lit by a car's headlights, and he
What?
was trying to
Board slide.
down, flat, down with a kink at the end, and he got the one that stuck. took it right to the ribs,
Oh.
got back up, and he still went for more.
Yeah, that was like the gnarly, like a legendary slam that because it's like such a gnarly slam and then did it.
Like 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning before the museum opened.
Okay.
The next morning,
And got it.
we went, and I seen it before. My boss, Mike Janowski, showed it to me in South Barbara. And he asked us, "What do you think about this?" And I go, "Wow, this is pretty incredible." I went told him, "Yeah, I'm just skated," when I was like, "Oh man, you can't stop." I need to tell him that
Yeah.
Now you had to.
Where
do
I
it.
put in myself.
career, you know,
Yeah. You gotta push yourself.
Biggest rails ever done.
Yeah. And then
to skate, and I was working on my life part, so it gave us time to warm up to it. I got like other tricks done that were really important, maybe like 500 to 700 goals at the trick.
Okay.
So by the time I got here,
Yeah.
it was
Good.
yeah, you already knew you were like this is kind of like cherry on top.
I
Like
went there at night and I looked at it and I was like, this is the chance. Don't get caught in the middle. Don't sack. The only way to go is to the end.
Yeah.
So I went, my first goal, I put my board in. I hit the paint and left through. And I was fighting to not get slipped upside down and hit my head. So when I came down like this on the other side of the rail,
there
that was the first way I got.
to save yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, I got back up and I was like, how can this rail do this to me?
Yeah, yeah. That's it's amazing when it becomes personal like that.
17-year-old kid.
Yeah.
I was like,
Hey, once you get into that,
It's yeah.
once you get into that battle,
Yeah, you're like this
it's
is I
not
don't
about
even,
you and the video camera anymore.
And then you don't
It's
even
about,
you
like,
landed and you're
You're
just
on the
like you don't
train.
really enjoy. You're like fucking
It's like,
stunned.
now I have a personal vendetta
yeah.
against this
Like a
thing.
war.
It's just, it's like getting sucker punched by just some random person.
I immediately thought like, wow, you are still alive.
Yeah.
Now it's time to go again.
And that's probably the worst it's gonna give you, so
Yeah,
you can
so
make it.
They helped me, like, lifting my hands up. The wind was knocked out of me. We looked up, it was just a welt, like
Okay.
a scar, like
The ribs, no problem.
no broken. So I went again, and this time I actually beat the flip, but it shot me through on the stair. And you see me standing on the stair like,
Yeah.
oh God. And they said, let's go. It's done. It's too
Yeah.
crazy. We're coming back in the morning.
So how does
So
it
I
feel
got-
to like to you're literally learning how a kink feels doing the kink. You know
was
now
right.
kids have like even certain parts that have kink rails where like you're literally
Before?
like learning as you're like
Yeah.
as you're doing getting the clip like
It was incredible because the next morning I really started to understand more about skating and how to.
and how it's gonna
learn.
feel,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But most of
I got
the
to
most,
see it.
yeah, and most of all of our biggest successes with getting clips and conquering tricks is you don't practice this.
Yes, and
it's
that's-
it's a on the fly
Yeah.
decision and judgment.
This is-
and you improvise as you go, and you
That's
might
what
have
I
a
want-
couple mishaps, but you
That's
learn
the
real
beautiful-
quickly
the-
what to do and what to do, and all of a sudden you start
Also,
getting
you're
the feeling,
fighting-
and then
but
all of a
also
sudden the
you're
confidence
fighting
comes
time.
up because you're like,
You're
I got
fighting
this.
time because usually
And it's a
all
wrap.
The best spots are in public property where there's no
Yeah.
trespassing.
So this
or
is
security or
beautiful
owners
that we
coming
bring
after you.
this point up because I want kids to like understand that like now it's like you go to a park, you practice it or whatever. It's like it's not like
Very
learning a
important,
trick right
because
there.
it
Like
keeps
sometimes
you
you
from
get to a
getting
spot
injured.
and that
Now
spot
we
is
have the
asking for
parks.
that trick, right?
That's
And you're
why
like,
it's
I've
to
never
train
done
you.
it. And like it's
There was
happened
no-
to me
Yeah.
where like I learned a trick at the spot too. Like I kickflip backside nose, backside overcrook, the Worcester 10. But like it was asking for that trick, but I've never even tried that ever, So I, like, and I
possible,
did
you had
it
the skills
there.
to make it happen.
Yeah, and I was like, I
Yeah.
could do it, but it's like I want kids to not be afraid to do that, Like
Right.
to like if you're at a spot and maybe you're traveling or something, and like if that you feel like you want to do that trick that it's asking for, like just learn it there, Try. You don't have to like.
You gotta push
But
it down.
you have
Yeah.
you,
I almost
did you think in preparation of that trick on the way there?
No,
Or it just
there
came
I
to
just
you?
did. It was
That's
it was a
the
night
definition.
session, so we lit it,
You
and
know
I was
what's
doing.
good, too, about
how
your
It was for.
culture? Your culture speaks about visionary. Your culture is really good and ancient about visions and visionaries. So
Yeah.
maybe that helped you.
So
too.
yeah, so I was there. I
Well,
forget who
that's
shot the
good.
photo. Sorry, but
Yeah,
we were
that's
shooting
good.
for the skateboard mag for my interview, and I was like, the first times I was gonna be in the mag. But we went there, and I got a backside work, and I was like,
manifestation
"Dude,
is
that's-
be-
this
yes.
thing's been destroyed. And I was just there thinking like, why already backside orca? I'm like, I just gotta flip into it. It's already the same. But like, dude, I was like, 90% like there for like 100 times though. But you know, because I'd never done
It's
it.
hard putting it together 'cause
So I was
you
like,
get into it,
and yeah,
getting
but
out
I'd
of
take
it,
my
you get
foot
used to
off
bailing,
for like
yeah.
100 times. I would take
Right.
my foot off because I didn't know how I was gonna feel. And then there's just that
So
one.
wasn't it
That's it.
finally
Boom.
clicked? You're just like,
I
I'm gonna
was,
make this one,
dude.
and
We
you
were
just
there
like
for like
keep your
2
feet up.
hours. I was just like, I'm gonna stop being a fucking punk. You know, like I have to land on one if I really want to do it, or I'm gonna continue to
Right.
do it.
Usually it's a decision. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna try this. Like the next
Yeah.
3, I'm landing on no matter
Yeah.
what.
Yes.
Maybe
I.
4 flips
And that
over.
makes
you
or
ever
breaks
say?
your injury in those next 3.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna stand on one, and even if it's right or wrong,
Right.
you're so committed.
Yeah, you decide
don't
I'm
know
gonna
how
make
you're
this.
getting. Yeah, and you get
Do
put
you
in a
guys- do-
situation where you have to improv an exit strategy that you're not familiar with because you don't know what the hell is
What's gonna happen? Yeah.
But, I mean, my experience, especially with street skating, was always improv. Show up in the moment, never
Like the
you know,
flow,
even
right,
the
with the
spot.
fucking
Like
flow.
I wouldn't have even time to think about it because I'd jump in the van with guys like this, didn't know where I was going. Next thing you know, I'm
Those
in a
were the
spot,
best
and I'm
sessions.
like, okay, well I didn't
see
have
what
even time to
happens.
visualize
Yeah.
this. But as far as verse skating goes,
Yeah.
Or-
the ramp
Okay.
is always.
For the new generation that they don't know, Danny Way is the first one who really revolutionized the skateboarding in the early 90s. But they mix bird and the street. They, Danny bring the streets to the bird.
Right.
So
Like the
then
reason why people are doing
it's
kickflip
amazing.
boards on
I
on
see
the
you do
lip
like
is
nollie backside flip, backside tail. Like
yeah.
But yeah, of course, in the early '90s, the ramps, dissolved quickly, and
high,
and
high.
I'm a skateboarder. But I grew up in skating through the '80s, and I couldn't get to a ramp sometimes before it got dark after school.
Yeah.
I couldn't get to the Del Mar Skate Ranch because it was too far.
Yeah.
And then, all of my hometown friends, we used to go to Del Mar Skate Ranch. We were little kids. That's where we learned how to drop in and skate transition. And then all of a sudden, we're not able to get there. So, I grew up in a town called Vista, California, with like Matt Hensley,
Matt Hensley.
Brendan Chappelle, Mario Rubicaba, Steve Ortega.
Wow.
So my crew all could skate vert, but we just decided at one point, like,
Skate
let's just
straight.
skate what we can, why we can.
Yeah.
And that became where we were just improvising. We had some local skate spots that we started to get good at skating, but
Yeah.
if we were traveling or going outside of our town, we'd pull up at something and it was like, all right, who's gonna try first? And you didn't have time to think about it.
Yeah. Was there a
But
moment?
the ramp,
Go ahead. Sorry.
it's like 2 ledges on each side until I started
Yeah.
building ramps with new obstacles on it.
yeah.
I had time to visualize, I'd go home and after a session and think about the same trick all night long and go back the next day and execute. And sometimes it worked out and sometimes it took a little while. But you could manifest it after you understood what the environment was going to be. The street environment's always evolving. And back then there wasn't any skate parks to train in. So we just showed up and went for whatever we had to do.
I think it's the best way, no? Like more organic, no plans so serious.
You don't have time to get
Today,
scared.
The tricks are so crazy that you should have parks to train and practice
Yeah.
and go do this before. And like the Olympics and X Games, it's just crazy. The courses have really
Crazy.
stepped up a bunch, and it's dangerous. You know what I mean? When they're trying to follow the path, like Danny's path and stuff like that, and incorporate it to the now. You have to train because there's no way you're gonna be that good. Unless
definitely.
you have a system where you can go and skate for hours and hours and hours.
So I wanted to ask you,
So
Danny.
where you walking away like,
Let's-
we got the shot, we got the money shot, and my body is still in one piece. Let's go to the next shot, right? Let's go to the
Danny, I
next
wanted to ask you, like, was there an actual moment where you were like, all right, I think it's time to start doing street tricks on the lip, like.
You want to get in that costume?
Yeah.
So if I
Go ahead.
see him come.
Yeah. I wanted to know, Danny, like, was there a moment where
Leave your backside.
was there a moment in time like that you remember where it was like, okay, I'm just gonna start doing flipping into the on the coping, like how did that come about, and do you remember a specific moment or session where you were just like fuck it, I'm just gonna start doing ledge tricks,
In
on
the vert.
on the vert, yeah.
Well, it was you and Colin doing it together. Huh?
Yeah.
I'll give him credit. Like he was like, it's like a glitch, and he was like, glitched, and then he was right there with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
He's definitely following your footsteps. And
Yeah,
you guys were
yeah,
pioneering it.
he did a good job of keeping up quickly, and then to the point where then we started,
Battling.
Battle.
not battling. We just
Not
They push
in
each
the
other,
good
which
way.
is good. And
Yeah.
it's
But-
fucking good.
You push each other.
Yeah, it's
But-
like you learn something. He's like, shit, well, I gotta learn this.
but
Yeah.
if there's one thing I'm most proud of, like whatever about jumping out of helicopters and over the Great Wall of China or whatever, my biggest thing, and I won't take credit for it all, because there's Rodney Mullen. He invented all the fundamental street tricks, flat
Yes.
ground tricks, all translated into street skating. And then I was like, okay, I learned, through the early 90s, I learned how to street skate. I learned how, through the late 80s, early 90s, I was street skating just as much as vert skating. But I got,
all those 8th Street guys and filming with Hensley and stuff.
yeah, I just, and grew up with Hensley from the hometown. Like,
Oh, the back three he did? Oh my God.
well,
And Vista was ground zero for like San Diego street skating, and he's
Okay.
right in the mix of that. So not only you're doing the vert stuff, but he's right where a street is happening.
Yeah, Matt
They're
Hensley.
pushing it. 8th Street, that whole crew was pushing street skating in a whole new direction.
So I loved vert so much, just the feeling of it. I wasn't going to stop. So I would go the extra distance to go skate vert once in a while.
Yeah.
And those guys were just like, whatever, we're just going to go street skating. And I would dip them sometimes and go skate vert. But if there, like I was going to say, there's one thing I'm most proud of is learning how to control my board, with my feet, being able to understand how to kick, flip, catch my board. And then I started looking at the vert ramp. There was that era where it was like, okay, if you spin another half a spin, like, oh, we go from the 720 to the 900, and then what's the next 1080? I was like, that to me became, to me it came uninspiring,
Yeah.
it felt like it was like an old-fashioned trend that it wore out.
Yeah.
And once I learned how to street skate correctly, I started looking at the ramp with a different mentality. And it wasn't about, oh, okay,
How many
who's gonna
spins
do
you're
the-
gonna do,
Who's
yeah.
going to do a 1080? I was like, who's going to do the first tray flip nose slide?
Yeah.
So
And also before Danny, when anyone did a flip trick on a
Dollies.
Yeah.
all these guys were flicking their boards, catching
And
it
grab
up
it,
here,
yeah.
and putting it under their feet. And everyone's doing that stuff. And then Danny figured out how to do a natural flip, catch it with his feet, and
Yeah.
come down
Well,
and
it's-
keep it under.
it started with flipping and grabbing was my first
Right.
episode or first chapter.
Right.
Yeah.
When you have like Tony doing nose grab, finger flip to grabs. I was
you
like,
didn't know
you
if
can
it was
kick
possible
flip
yet.
into a
You
grab.
do a kickflip indie, right?
Yeah.
And it'd be right there on your feet, and you're just using your hand to like.
Just
suck
to
it
just
in.
to suck
Yeah,
it in.
yeah.
But
Most people are doing the kickflip indies, and it's like down here.
well, most
Yeah.
Bring it back to their feet.
I mean, it took a couple years after I did the first kickflip videos for people to even do one,
But you got them proper.
but my point is once I learned how to control my board with my feet without
Right.
grabbing it,
Right.
then I started looking at the vert ramp like, if you're grabbing and there was vert tricks and there's street tricks, and my mentality became if they weren't universal,
Yeah.
then they were dinosaur.
That's why that's
Nice.
that's why that's
Nice one.
it's
Nice
still
one, nice
possible.
one.
Hell
Because
yeah.
we like to see the wacky stuff. So when you flip something and grab it up here,
Yeah.
I love it. And bring
Yeah.
it back down.
Yeah, but if
It's manic, but
Hey,
there's a way to do that
we
other
can
stuff
we
too.
can still do that,
Yeah.
but my as a
right there.
as
No bad.
hey as
And a mistake.
as a visual connoisseur, I see how people can be like, wow, that's cool. But as a connoisseur of skateboarding progression, to me, I'm looking at it like,
there.
dude, this is NASA, bro. I'm trying to build the next spaceship to get into Mars. I'm not trying to get back to the moon. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like so, there was another level of thinking, and then I wanted to be able to be relevant with the street skaters and salute my street community. And be right there with my peers that I hung out with every day, and not be doing like, 80s vert tricks when I know how to do modern 90s street tricks.
Right.
So,
Amazing.
anyways,
What's one of the, okay,
Amazing.
what's
that's
one
the
of
most proud thing about my career
Yeah.
is being able to create the universal language in skateboarding.
You can progress to
Yeah,
that.
he bridged
That's
it.
what I
Yeah.
wanted to do.
Yeah.
He bridged
Is
it.
make
Yeah.
all tricks. If I can't do the same trick on the street,
Yeah.
I can't. Then it's not relevant on the vert.
'Cause it's all
It's
skating.
not like you're gonna do
No,
a,
you take
a
it to the next
1080
level.
to a Smith grind down a handrail.
Yeah.
Or a frontside invert down a handrail. You know what I mean? Or a
Don't give anybody any ideas.
hey,
Yeah,
I'm
with
just
gloves.
in just a factual perspective. No disrespect to the guys that are still in the ice age. But
And it's a really famous photo.
I mean the best. I have the best intention or respect, but that's the way my mind ticks.
your mind is in another planet, man.
It's just
Honestly.
universal language.
Yeah.
Every skateboarding trick should be able to be done in any environment.
Yes,
That's
definitely.
the model of my mentality.
So Jeremy,
So
what's going on now? What are you up to?
Take over.
It's a really famous photo of San Shefi. For the people know, he's jumping the sun. I remember that photo. It's a really famous photo, no? That you put in the car and you jump in the alley at your. For me, no, talking me about what happened in the history. What you think?
Filming one day, and I was practicing ollie in the cage in my filmer scene.
Yeah.
And we went filming, and then came back the next day to go filming. He actually would. Our boss and my guys had to get this footage of it only in the kid video. They could do it again, and I was like, oh. I was just practicing yesterday, but yes, of course. I would win, and it took me a couple of tries to hope I got that before. And it's amazing photo.
So you had already done it before you even the photo. The day before you were just your.
No, with them.
Yeah.
You're practicing your pop.
I hear-
watched my kid.
And you wanted to get him stoked or something that he.
No, I hear they bring you some problems after. With no, never. The law. You jump in your kids.
People that hate on it. That say
People watching.
oh.
I'm trying.
Okay.
Only problem is when more people were doing it.
Oh, okay.
The other people try to do it. That thing is yeah.
Plastic car with a tall
Yellow.
Hey, that thing was like this big, bro, not like this.
Why you stealing
This
my
tall.
kid?
Tall.
He made it the trend though.
The best part was Julian getting out. Like he gave you props, and then he got out and closed the door.
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
the best.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was-
He's
it
coming in
was
the video.
Good footage. And you were watching him as you went through. He's watching
He
you.
was surprised. He comprehended
Oh,
that really.
Damn. There's just so
What's
much.
rad is I hang out with Julian all the time.
Yeah.
He's such a rad kid. And,
He's
and
dope.
you know, he's a grown man now.
Yeah.
He's like
He's doing
what,
jewelry
33?
now.
Yeah.
Shout out
Yeah,
to Julian.
he's not-
Yeah.
Well, then later on when he rode for Blind, they had a blind ad where Julian's full grown and he's in the little car with his legs hanging out.
No way. Oh, that's it. I gotta see that.
You redo it.
Yeah, that's
They
it.
redid it and it was
That's it.
rad.
That's
Man, but
so
there's so
dope.
much that like I mean,
That was a
so
good ad.
much fucking shredding that you've done, we can talk about tricks all day long.
Yeah.
One thing that I do want to talk to you about is the fucking
Water gap.
the water gap.
Yes.
Like, how does
Please.
it
I
even
was just
look
gonna
up
bring it up
there?
before you ended
How
it.
like
Yeah.
is it leveled? Is it lower? Like, how did he even think about it? Tell us everything about that.
It's a spot that's over the hill from La Habra where I live, and every time we went to skate any of the spots that were that direction, I'd have to drive by it. So every
Uh-huh.
time I drive by, I'd look at it, and it was just two cement rooftops that were, they're even, but they're pretty far, and from the street it looks a little closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you get up there, it's really
Exactly
far.
what
Yeah.
I want to tell
So
you.
yeah,
Far away, you say,
turns
oh,
out it's
yes.
about 15
Dude.
feet across, which we found out was close to like 4 or 5 meters, something like
What?
that. And,
Gnarly.
It's a lot.
So it's at pretty much the gap, the limit of how far you can go without a ramp or anything.
Yeah, yeah.
I just
No
ran
one, yeah,
first. So I just went as fast as I could and got a good ollie.
The-
And I ended up riding away on the 5th try. But every time I had to do it, I had to run and jump back. Because there was like cement, like piles on
So
the
you
landing.
tried?
Yeah, but when you ride away, you have like 3 seconds to slow down.
yeah.
or you're
No,
fine.
what I wanted to
enough
say-
ride and turn.
But
Oh,
even
really?
I know
Oh,
there
okay.
had to be like a moment as you're running
Right.
that you just there's no turning back, right? Like I
Yes.
mean, there's nowhere
You're
to
not
go.
pussy.
Like you can't pussy out or go slow.
Pussy
It's
out.
like
Yeah, you can't hesitate. You have to know you're going fast enough when you get there.
Yeah.
So I tried to go faster than I needed to. By the time I got there, just set up and ollie.
Uh-huh.
And if I got set up wrong or something, there's nothing I could do to change it. I
That's
have to
it.
go.
Yeah, you
So
don't-
even if your foot's in the wrong spot, I'm
You
gonna have
gotta
to try to
pop.
get my body across.
yeah.
But in my mind, I figured if I went fast enough, even if I landed short and locked
Your
on
body.
it, my body's gonna make it on top, and my board might hit up.
Yeah.
And on one of them, I landed because it's so far that you don't think you're gonna make it. So I'm watching the line, and I think I'm gonna lock. So I lean back and put my board ahead and stretched out. When I landed, it shoots back, you know?
Oh,
so my
fuck.
board, on the fourth one, my board shot off the other side and ended up falling off the tower.
Uh-huh.
So I ran and jumped back without my board. And then I go to the edge and they're trying
They
to
throw
throw it
it?
up to me.
Yeah.
They couldn't throw it that high.
Yeah.
That high.
Oh my
So
God.
I'm like, I'm up here. I need
Yeah,
that
yeah.
board.
It's gotta
you
be
need
like
to get
40
that.
And now
feet
I'm
up,
warmed
yeah.
up. Never like
So
I'm very
what I
about
had
to
do
do
is I
it.
had to lay down, get my arm over the side, and they threw it up as high as they could, and I got
grab
it
it.
with 2 fingers, just enough to get it. Like, okay, brought it back
Okay.
up. Okay, we're good to go.
Damn.
And I got it on the next one. I got it on the 5th try.
That was the one.
And that's the one I decided. That's it. I'm doing it right now.
Because you had already stomped it. You already
And
knew
when they were
you
trying
could
to
do
throw
it.
my
And
board up to
nobody
me,
do
That's-
it nothing
when they were
again.
throwing
No,
my
of
board
course
up, it
not.
landed on the
Nobody-
tail and
is gonna think like nobody's
right.
gonna do
Oh,
it.
yeah.
It's like
you had one tryer. Dude.
Right.
You
So I'm
know,
like, that's it. I'm not doing this anymore.
Dude.
But after the board got chipped on
Now-
the tail, like,
now
I'm
now
doing it.
knowing that like you drove by so many times, like visualizing it, like I mean I think all the skaters do that, but not as gnarly as you and him.
Right.
Like I've driven with him around Mexico City, like in Santa
LC
Fe,
stuff?
bro. But like it doesn't. It's ridiculous. How is that even a spot? Like there's
Thinking,
this building that has this huge circle, and he's like, damn, dude, that's a sick ass fucking like ramp. Like you should. I'm like. What? Dude, that thing is
Yeah,
like
'cause you can see, like,
20
where it's
stories,
looking,
like it's gnarly. And then he goes, he's like, oh, from that roof, you could definitely, I can build around, jump to the other roof. And
I
I'm
got
just
the
like,
raddest roof cap in Mexico City, right across from the convention center. That's totally doable,
Yeah.
and it looks like a pyramid because it's got 2 slants.
Right.
And if I just had a rolling, there's no question
Connect them, yeah.
I could jump. And these are like probably 50 stories.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
think we drove by it. I drove by it when I was in Mexico City. I saw it and I was like, that's
yeah.
skippable.
But the crazy
Yeah,
thing is,
me
it's
too. I
like
was like,
with you
I
guys,
see it.
it's like a lot of people can
It's
imagine
like
to
a
do
pyramid
things,
Yeah.
on 2
but
rooftops.
you guys would actually do it. You know, you actually went and did it. Like with him,
Right.
what scares me is some of the shit that he comes up with sometimes where I'm like, dude, like it's scary, but I know that if he would want to do it, he could do it. Like it's because he, you know, he's
That
a fuck,
happens
like
lot.
when you're
We'll-
that
we'll-
gnarly.
We'll go out with someone, show them a spot, and they'll be like, no. Like,
Yeah,
they're not feeling it, or they don't see the vision that we
Yeah,
see.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's
You
just
gotta
like,
go with the right person
dude,
that will-
even some of the shit he tells me is fucking scary. I'm like, no, like, dude, don't try that. Like, you know, but I was like, but I would never hesitate to think that
There
he
is
could
a
do
limit
it, you know,
to
but.
what you can do,
But it's all.
I know my limit.
Yeah, he knows his
You know
limit.
your
He
limit.
wouldn't say.
I-
He wouldn't come up with the trick or the idea if he didn't know that he could do it. You know, and that's
And
the.
like Danny, I still keep looking for spots. I found another water tower, another set. And the other one now has a rail across it, so you can't do it anymore.
Uh-huh.
But I found another one.
one.
And I kind of want to get on it.
And
I
my-
kind of want that backside
Sick.
that I never got.
Really?
Yeah, and
Ah.
my point is that this is like less is more.
Right.
Like you know, I can frivolously go skateboarding every day,
Yeah.
but I know what I'm capable of.
Right.
And you know, after so many injuries and so much risk taking,
Right.
I'm at the point where I'm like, you know, as long as I'm rolling around just a bit, just enough, have enough confidence,
Right.
I know what I'm capable of.
Right.
And so I'm
When the
literally
moment comes.
waiting for those moments to see these opportunities
Right.
and narrow it down to, you know, everyone's like, dude, go street skating, film a video part,
Right.
whatever.
You might
I'm
get
like,
hurt
dude,
along the way, yeah.
I got bigger fish to fry, and
Which are in
I'd
the
rather
works.
take the risk doing some of the gnarliest stuff I've ever done in my
Right. It'll
career
make a bigger impact
than roll
if
my
you
ankle
choose.
doing, you know, a ledge trick.
So that everybody knows, we're actually working with PX Sports to do some never been done shit with Danny, and it's
In
all in
Mexico.
the works. You guys are gonna see it in Mexico and in Panama City. There's some
Salvador.
gnarly shit coming on, you know, that's in the works. So
In one
Yeah.
point, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. In one point, you all guys, they are Plan B. You Plan B in one point. Yeah, no, in one.
It's I got on Plan B around 94.
94.
Yeah,
like
and I
kinda-
stayed with Plan B until Mike Janeski passed away, and I think in 98, and I stopped.
Okay.
I came
Well,
back
because
and-
there's a long story why we stopped, but
Yeah.
you know, there was nobody to run the company.
Yeah.
Colin McKay
You
and
guys
I
joined.
were like, you know, should we take it over? Should we, you know, and we had a lot of hard business lessons that we learned in the beginning of trying to take over Plan B. So we got to a point where we're like, hey, we need to learn a little bit more about business and maybe save a little bit more money if we're going to really better ourselves as, you know, amateur businessmen. And we finally got to that point.
Yeah.
And we're a
Plan
lot
B's
more,
back.
and we've learned a lot since then.
Still here.
So
Yeah.
you know, here we are. You know,
Running
Sheffy's
strong.
back. We're working
Hell
with Jeremy
yeah.
on some projects.
Right here.
yeah,
You know, we're
mean-
talking to Oscar. We got we've been talking to Pedrillo. We got, you know, Laser Crawford. You know, Christian Jordan. We have a new young team, and you know, new young crew.
dude, Laser
We have
just
the
that-
legends, Jocelyn, of course. You know, Felipe.
Yeah, these two guys, they're doing really well in competition now, no? Like Chris Jocelyn and
They're all shredding contest
But,
and
you
street. Gnarly,
know-
dude. Laser just did a.
To maintain a racially influential company, you have to always be raising young new talent and new rock stars into the company. You know, you can't just rest on the legacy that you have. So you're always fishing, you're always scouting, and you're always searching for that next bit of talent, which is the mentor that we had. Mike Ternansky was a master of. And all we're doing is emulating what he did. You know, there's no rocket science between our process other than MT, Mike Chernansky, taught us all and
Before
gave
the
us.
age of 27 years old, he was genius.
So everything that we do
Yeah.
is literally emulating his legacy, and it still works.
And Plan B as a brand has like the deepest, strongest roots, but also has the brightest future with the talent
Yeah.
they've picked out.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, Plan B will
Nice.
be around for a long, long time.
Yeah.
That's
No,
no
no
doubt
go
about
anywhere.
that.
And where come from
Yeah.
the name of Plan B?
Well, we sat around a table and we're picking the guys that could be on Plan B. I won't name some names of saying, oh, this guy's not good enough, or we can't hang out with him because he's not cool enough, and then them actually leaving one day and then bringing these guys on their new team.
Yeah.
But everyone had an opinion.
Yeah.
And I actually came up with the name Plan B because we had another company called H Street.
H Street.
And it
Yeah.
was like, hey, we learned a lot from that. Let's not repeat the history of the things that we did wrong.
Yes.
So this is our Plan B, and that's
Perfect.
That's where the name
Amazing, genius. Actually, H Street, that art, remind me. Remind me.
The team voted on it, and we like what Danny came up with so much, we kept the name.
Yeah, there was a handful of name options.
Yeah.
But Plan B, when you look at
Some
like
reason
the
sounds
process of how it evolved, this was our Plan B. This was our second chance to do things in a different way and refine our process with H Street and create a new brand that was,
How long is Plan B in the business? Like 30 years? How long is Plan B alive? No, like 30 years?
1991, 33 years.
33
Yeah, when I was
years.
born. I was born 1991, my whole
Favorite
life.
number? 33.
And it's crazy. You already had a skater of the year on 1991 when I was born. You were already winning skater of the year. Gnarly.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll keep trying.
Was that the first one or the second one?
Well, no,
'cause
that
you're
was
one of
the
the-
first one. Skate of the
Yeah.
Year started in 1990. Tony Hawk won the first one. I won the second one. And then in 2004, I won the second one. My second one. But
Yeah, so I didn't know that. So the skater of the year started in 1990.
hopefully
It was Tony Hawk first. Then you got the second one.
Yeah.
But you're one of the only ones that has gotten two skater of the years
Yeah.
ever.
Well, the first
Yeah.
one to get two, and there's been
The first one to get two.
Tashawn
Yeah.
and
Mark Kaplinger?
and Chris Cole.
Chris Cole. Yeah.
But-
But
And
that
with Thrasher, I never got Skater of the Year, but they did do a vote for the greatest Thrasher cover of all time.
okay.
And
The
Hell
Water
yeah.
Towers.
Hell yeah.
Water tower
Fuck
on.
yeah. Hell yeah.
I was very proud of
Damn.
that moment.
Hell
I was
yeah.
very proud of that moment.
Hell yeah.
Nobody can beat that.
Yeah, and like
Nobody
the
can
Skater of
beat
the
that.
Year every
I mean,
year.
just to have
But
a
the greatest
just to
Thrasher of all
have
time
a
until someone
cover.
beats it,
I mean, just to have the cover
Never.
already.
I was so happy about
Yeah,
that.
that's gnarly.
Okay,
Man,
guys.
Finally
We
got some
could,
props from Thrasher on that one.
man.
Hey,
Yeah.
you should have definitely got a Skater of the Year for
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
And
But
you know what?
You know how political that was.
Yeah.
It wasn't always about who's the best skater.
When I also got banned from Thrasher for a little bit, so but I'm back in there now. The year that I did the water tower? Oh, I don't know. It'd be in '97, so we'd look back and find out. Yes.
Hey, Jeremy got Skater of the Year that year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's who.
That's
People's
it.
champ.
That's it.
Yeah. People's poll.
Yeah.
And, okay, and guys, thank you so much. Social, how impact everything that you guys doing for skateboarding? How you think impact to the social, as to the kids, to the.
What do you think is, to have a social impact?
I already see how is your impact in the kids. So I just want to know what you guys think.
Style or look is shared, like haircuts, clothing, the board set up, the cars they drive. It kind of keeps them motivated to keep skateboarding in their life. So when they're done skating, you're looking forward to skating the next day. And so video footage and things like that to incorporate it so you can do well in school or work or what you have as a lifestyle. It creates a lifestyle. Artistic values and
Well, I
stuff.
know that none of us got into this to be a role model.
Yeah, yeah,
You were
yeah.
just skateboarding and doing your
For
thing,
what you feel.
and all of a sudden you get put in a position where everyone's got their eyes on you, especially kids and everything. So they look up to you, and you just try to set a good example and show them that you can do something with skateboarding. It can be a positive thing in your life, and you can make a living at it if you're, dedicated 100%. Not everybody makes it, but the select few that really push it that far, then more power to them.
For my
Social.
Yes.
The social.
Friends, the boyfriends.
the social media, you know, there's a flip side to it, you know, having a connection directly into, you know, the skate culture or your favorite pros or the guys you look up to's lives is amazing day to day. But there's also, you know, I see an addiction to instant gratification where guys are just, you know, there's not as much authentic commitment to a process. You know, you're looking for such instant gratification and appraisal for what you did that day versus being able to hold on to the best trick you have, hold it together until you have a collection of it, to be able to put it out in the video part with an amazing soundtrack and give the consumer, give the fans something that they're starving for and waiting for. So it saturates, you know, how amazing some things are, you know, as far as the progression and talent of some guys. Everyone, it waters down a lot of what should be just glorified on such a higher level.
Yeah.
But again, like he said, like people are tapped in, you know, it gives the ability to stay, you know, close to their, you know, favorite brands, favorite skaters, and feel like they're, you know, the culture is tight, but it's
Amazing. Honestly, guys, for my size, thank you so much for everything you guys do for skateboarding and inspire so many good kids and saving lives. You guys, with the way that you make the history in the skateboarding, you guys saving lives and give
Saved my
dreams.
life,
Yeah.
and I hope it's doing the same for as many kids, you know, that are out there that connoisseur and have a passion and love for what we do.
Yeah.
You know, I hope they do it for the right reasons and inspires them and it stimulates a passion that we all had to get to where we're at.
And what I've realized, it's actually the best exercise there is. Because you don't consider it exercise, you're
No,
just
but it
having
is.
fun, doing your thing, but it keeps you healthy.
Yeah.
And, you know, on in your later years, if you keep skateboarding, you're not going to be fat. You might be old, but you're not going to be fat. You're going to be fit, you're going to be happy and healthy, and
Yeah.
you're going to live a longer life just through constantly skateboarding and using your
Look at you guys.
How many
These
injuries
dude,
you get.
damn,
It
we're
depends how many surgeries you get. there's a flip side to that too.
You're fat because you have to eat the hill.
Yeah.
Right?
It's getting harder and harder to walk from point A to point B.
Man, well,
The
thank you
mornings
guys.
are getting a
Seriously,
lot
thank you
harder.
guys for being in Mexico
Yeah.
and for being here and sharing, you know, such an amazing history and fuck.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Skateboarding,
So-
fucking, thanks you guys too. See you guys. Hey,
All right,
this has
PX
been another
Sports,
episode.
Represent
Thank you.
See you guys next week.
We see you tomorrow, the final.
Alejandro,
Here in
Oscar.
Chihuahua.
Viva Mexico!
Yeah.
Cabrones.